Dandelion shortbread cookies. That's what we're making today. So this is a pretty simple recipe. Not a lot of ingredients in it. Good ingredients. You want to use quality ingredients. That's a big thing with me. I don't use any imitation this or imitation that. I use real butter when I'm making shortbread cookies. So we need a half a cup of room temperature butter. Sometimes when I'm making shortbread, I use very cold butter cut into cubes. For this particular recipe, I'm using room temperature softened butter so that everything incorporates well, but since I'm incorporating the dandelion flowers in there. Our butter is in our bowl. We're going to add a half of a cup of powdered sugar, so confectioner's sugar. That's going to go in there, and we are going to whisk this until it's very well combined and smooth. Okay, our butter and sugar is combined, and this is the consistency you're looking for. You're looking for it to be completely combined together. Now that that's combined, we are going to add our extracts, our flavoring extracts. So we're going to use an almond extract. And again, use pure almond. Please don't use imitation almond, imitation vanilla. Just want a half of a teaspoon of this. This is a small batch of cookies. I would normally make a double or triple size of this, but I'm doing it to scale for what the average baker is going to be making for their family. So I'm just going to put about a half of a teaspoon of the almond extract in there. And then we are going to put in a teaspoon of pure vanilla. Now, I make my own vanilla. It's very simple to make, and I'll do a video on this at some point, but I make my own vanilla. The thing is, it takes at least 6 months for this to be ready to use. So this is not a quick process, so you need to plan ahead. So you need to have some pure vanilla on hand until your homemade vanilla is ready to go. I am going to add just a little bit of maple extract. And this is going to give them a really nice flavor. And we're only going to put about 1/8 of a teaspoon in there of maple extract. If you don't have maple extract, you can omit that. Just use the almond and vanilla. That's perfectly fine. We're going to combine this again. The extracts are combined with the butter, and now I'm just going to add some salt. I'm just going to add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt in here. We are going to now add our flour in. We're using 180 grams of flour, or 1.5 cups. And you want to put this in half cup increments so that your batter does not get tough. So we're going to add that in there, and we're going to just mix it on low. So I slowly added in my flour in 1/2 cup increments, and I'm just scraping down the sides now so that I can combine that all together. You can see how crumbly that is. It's going to come together, so don't worry about that. You just want to gently mix it. And then what you want to do now is you want to mix in your dandelion petals. So this is a cup of dandelion petals. We are not going to use the electric mixer for this. We're just going to gently fold those in. Okay? Our dough is all mixed, and we're just going to form this into a log, and we're going to cover it with plastic. I'm using beeswax just because I have beeswax, but plastic wrap is perfectly fine to use. So you just want to roll that together and make a nice log out of it. I'm just going to mix that up a little more so we don't have too much dandelion in one place. You want to make sure your dandelion is very well incorporated in there. Now smooth out your log. You don't want it thinner in one place and thicker in another. You want it to be pretty consistent. So pretty consistent log, okay? This dough is going to go into the refrigerator for at least an hour or up to 24 hours. You want it to be very cold when you slice it, and you want it to be cold when it goes in the oven. So after you slice it, if it's taken you a little bit to slice it, while your oven's preheating, throw them back in the refrigerator and they will get cold. The cold reduces the spreading of the cookies. Okay, so we've got 2 little logs here. I'm going to roll that one like that, and then I'm just going to do that over there, and I'm going to put these in the refrigerator for an hour or two, and we'll be back to slice them up and put them in the oven. Now that our dough is chilled, we're going to slice these up and bake them. We're going to preheat the oven to 300 degrees, and they're going to bake for about 10 to 15 minutes. You want to watch them, and when the edges are brown, they should be done. So let's slice these up, and we're going to slice them up just like that. So you want to put them about an inch apart. And you want to make fairly thick slices. I think that's about maybe a half an inch. The cookies are in the oven baking. We're going to leave them in there for about 10 to 15 minutes. When they start to brown around the edges, we're going to pull those out. Let's talk about the flavor of these cookies. So these cookies are predominantly going to taste like almond because we used an almond extract, and it's a very strong extract. So if you don't like the taste of almond extract, use a different extract. Now I have almond, vanilla, and maple in mine. You can just up the vanilla. You can just use the maple. You can use lemon instead of all of them. Tailor it to yourself and what you like. We're making a lemon icing to go over top of our cookies. This isn't necessary. You can eat the cookies without the icing. They taste terrific without it. But we're going to make a little lemon icing to just drizzle on top. It's a cup of powdered sugar, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and just a dash of salt. Mix it together so that it's a thin consistency but not watery. You want to mix it completely until all the sugar is dissolved in there. And this is the consistency that you want. You want it to be able to drip off, but not be too thin. Now that we've got our icing mixed up to the consistency we want, we're just going to take a fork and we're going to drizzle it on top of them to make them look like a nice pretty design on them. This icing will harden on there. In an hour or so, it'll be completely set. And they'll be ready to go. I'm only going to do about half of these with icing. I'm going to leave the rest without it.